Oh, there we go.
We're live.
We're live. We've had some great conversations um, today about spirit, about what spirit looks like, how it shows up in your life. And people don't think as deeply about spirit as I do, I think. It's kind of like in the background for a lot of people. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, spirit is like a 24/7 job. I don't get a break from connecting to, or wanting to connect with spirit if I'm not connected.
Right.
It's either wanting to be connected or being connected. There really isn't any in between for me. So I'm a little obsessed with it. But I found that a lot of other people, even spiritual people, aren't quite as obsessed with it as I am.
Yeah, I mean, I go through phases where I'm really in tune with stuff and digging for information and wanting more information. And then I go back to being normal Jennie. Just doing laundry, doing normal stuff, that kind of thing. So I vacillate. I had an interesting conversation with my neighbor last night, kind of describing like some of the stuff I do and how it works. And I said something about, he made some reference to it being like a gift or like, that a special talent. And I was like, no, we all have it. It's just that he's like, we were talking about it being like a computer, like, and he's like, well, you get like the downloads. And I was like, yeah, but you know what you have to do? You have to turn your computer on. And if you've never used it before, you actually have to read the directions and figure out how to use it.
Right. And you have to dial it in. You have to go to the right website. You have to get your email address in right before they'll let you have access. I mean, there's a whole crazy process, a little bit of pretzeling.
My point was everybody has the computer, but people choose not to use it or learn how to use it. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, it's not a special limited edition. It's literally everybody has it. And then they just don't, can't be bothered. Not going to turn it on. Sounds nice, but I don't feel like
it. And it's interesting because even for those of us who use it, I don't always appreciate how very cool and magical it is. Like I've accomplished a lot in my life. If I look back on my life, I've accomplished a heck of a lot. And, and I'll share those things with people every so often. Oh, yeah, and I got a master's degree and I got my training in this and I went to that and I went to Columbia and, blah, 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 blah. And I don't appreciate it. And they look at me and they're like, wow, I really wish I could have done that. I really wish I could have had those experiences. And I don't appreciate them as the experiences always as much as I should for the magical experience that it was. It was just like, oh, yeah, well, of course, if you're thirsty, you drink a glass of water. What's magical about that?
Right. Well, and I guess it's the same thing with spirits, right? Is that people want these deep mystical experiences sometimes, but then they forget like they're always available. Like you don't have to have some near-death experience to trigger it or, something traumatic happen. Oops, I lost you for a second. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you disappeared.
I'm back. People don't have to, they can just try to see the little things every day and have a little bit of, learn to have that inner dialogue going on all the time. Which way should I turn? Turn left. It's more interesting. Okay, let's try that. That's a connection that people choose not to do sometimes. So,
but it's so hard when you physically feel anxious or angry or tired or frustrated. I can be doing the exact same thing, driving down the exact same road, and one day it is the most beautiful vision I've ever seen. And then the next day, I'm a piece of trash on the side of the road and why, life doesn't matter and where am I going anyways, this is never going to work. it's like we have to train ourselves to see and look for and connect with the beauty that's everywhere around us. And I keep this vision in my mind a lot lately. I've been watching the show How the Universe Works, and I love stuff like that. And it showed a little video of this vast amount of space of the universe, the sun, and inside, you know, around the sun is like this egg of solar wind, and these planets, including the Earth, being dragged along by the sun and protected from this vastness of this crazy, you know, blackness, emptiness of space. And it's moving. I mean, we're moving like millions of miles an hour right now, whether it's raining outside or whether my butt hurts or whether I need to take a shower. We are zooming through the blackness of outer space and the complete uncertainty and realization that we're, you know, like this, we're less than this big.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's hard to grasp that. I mean, those are such massive concepts. And a lot of the time we're really just trying to get through the day or, you know, get through the week or whatever. And, oops, hang on 1 second.
Is that your dad?
No. Yeah. Oh, hang on. That was my neighbor who's coming over to learn how to feed my cat.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
You have good neighbors.
Thankfully, yes, I do. What was I saying? But yeah, it's hard to understand those big picture things when we're dealing with little picture things, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and I realized that most of us go through life thinking, oh, I just wish I could get through today. I just wish I could pay my bills. I just wish. And you know, that's really us dreaming way too small. You know, if we're tapping into spirit and saying, well, I just want to get to the end of the day, you know, and we're coming from that mindset, we're creating, we're writing, we're producing that exact experience. But when we start looking further forward towards what can we really make as an impact on the world, then on the bad days, there's still great days because they're another day closer to, you know, this idea that you've been holding on to about being in alignment with the, you know, with the universe around you.
yeah, I mean, I find a lot of times too, when people are focusing on goals, it's really helpful to, instead of focusing on a specific goal, to instead focus on, if you achieve that goal, how would you feel? And then focus on the feeling, because that gives the universe more opportunities to bring you the feeling and not just have to zoom on one specific goal in order to get there. And so,
right, like I could feel abundant and know that I'm abundant and see my abundance every moment of every day.
Right. Like, you know, if you say, oh, you know, I want to buy a new house. And then it's, well, why do you want to buy a new house? Well, I want to live, you know, in the country and have open air. Well, then how would you feel? I would feel relaxed and more grounded with nature. And, you know, and then if you focus on just feeling relaxed and more grounded with nature and more in tune and more comfortable, and it feels like home, then you tell the universe, that's what I want. Now you can present it however it shows up, and you just expand on the opportunities of how it gets to you. You don't, instead of limiting the focus, you open and widen the focus, and we get a lot more opportunities that way, because the universe doesn't have to try to make all these little tiny pieces fit our ideal. Instead, they're saying, but you just want to feel this way. I can get you to feel that way 10 different ways. Which way do you want to go? So it's kind of just really learning how to focus on, how do you want to feel? At the end of the day, how do you want to feel? Even if it's, you know, whatever, car, job, relationships, whatever. How do you want to feel? Okay, then let's get somebody that looks like that. Let's get something that looks like that. Let's find a way for you to make money that looks like that.
And it's fun because when I realized that I wanted to feel good, and I started to ask myself, okay, what do I need to do in order to feel good? I created this magical healing space. And in between everything that I do when I'm at my studio, I'm in that space. I'm being surrounded almost by healing sound waves, by healing colors, by healing crystals. And I'm speeding this whole process up of getting my ego out of the way so that I can keep taking the steps, of getting all the judgments and the anger and the hurt and the past and the misunderstandings and processing through those and getting rid of them so that I can just keep taking step after step in the direction that I want to go, and being really present, not giving two different messages of, oh, I want this. No, I don't. Instead, being very clear. No, I want this. And we're going to keep doing what we need to do to get it, and putting down the things that say, oh, no, I'm too scared. We're just going to keep working through those. So I wanted to feel good all the time. So I created a space that would make me feel good every time that I sat in it, no matter what. It was designed to make me feel good. And that's kind of the trick. You decide you want to feel good, and then you do something about it to make sure that you feel good as often as possible.
Yeah. And then the other half of that is allowing the opportunities to present in ways that you didn't even think were possible. Instead of having this preconceived notion on how it should look or sound or whatever, like, instead you just see like, oh, hey, even like when I was trying to buy my house and I thought I was going to buy this other house and it was going to work out perfectly and it was all these great things. And then I kept coming up with all these hurdles, right? Like, because the universe was kind of like, wait, we have a better plan. Let's get you out of where you're going and let's get you to the plan we think is even better for you. And of course it was, right? Like it was bigger, it was cheaper, it was newer, it had way more things that I wanted. And I didn't even know that that was an opportunity until the other opportunity got out of my way.
Right.
And
Because
so,
like intellectually, the other thing makes sense. But then our intuition keeps saying, no, we really want you to go over here. I've been picking cards lately, completely feeling by the sides of my thumbs. And so I use the sides of my thumbs, and it'll tell me, like in my body, what card I need to stop at and how I need to pick it up, and the direction it needs to be. And it's been spot on. I've stopped questioning. I'm just like, no, I always know what to do, and I just have to trust that I always know what to do and follow it and see where it takes me. And that's spirit to me, trusting that I always know what to do if I listen in.
or even if you don't know what to do, trusting that whatever you do is going to work out okay. There's there's a lot of idea behind trusting and allowing. Because trusting says, okay, I guess it'll be okay. But allowing is that next step that says, okay, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to allow it to unfold the way it's presented. And that's the thing sometimes we have to be willing to do, is to realize that even as a psychic, I don't know all the answers, like even for myself, because otherwise what would be the point, right? Like there'd be no lessons to learn and no challenges if I knew it all in advance. So I have to be allowing to say, I don't know where this is going to go, but it all fell into place. So I have to just allow it to unfold and see what happens, and know that it's presented here, for my own best interest. And that allowing is a big thing. Just letting it, saying like, okay, I allow it to come to me. I think there's the idea of, long time ago, I had a thing on my fridge that was like an abundance message that said something about, I allow, money or whatever it was to come to me in amounts even greater than I can imagine. Because our imagination often has a limit. And so when we say, I'm allowing it to be even more than what I could imagine, you're removing the limits and you're removing the restrictions. And so I think that's a thing that's constantly has to be practiced. Like, okay, I'm going to allow this. I'm going to see what happens. I mean, and then trusting that when you do that, it'll play out the way it's supposed to, because you've been listening, you've been tuning in, and you've been picking up on the cues and signals for the right way. So.
Yeah. Spirit's almost, being in spirit's almost just a relaxed way of being, where you're tuned in and listening, more than it is something that's, it's mysterious inherently, but it's all around us all the time. We can always feel it and tune into it anytime that we want. We just have to let ourselves do it.
Right. You have to turn that computer on, that internal computer. Gotta, upload the software, download the information, and then have some instruction on how to use it.
Exactly. That's exactly how it works. And most people are not given any instructions. And so because they aren't given any instructions,
they don't even turn it on.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Oh, we have this fantastic computer that is in our.
Yeah, I inherited it.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh.
Yeah.
Need that.
That's super true. Yeah. People do not truly realize, I mean, studying body work and all the different modalities, the body is miraculous. The mind is miraculous. How we work is miraculous. Life, it's like Einstein saying, the more he studied, the more he couldn't, deny that there was a God. Anyone who studies the miraculousness of the universe with a curious mind, realizes there's an underlying flow, an underlying pattern of things, of different levels of consciousness, different, awarenesses, self-awarenesses. It's a big deal, and when we take a breath and get out of ourselves, we realize that the fact that we breathe or walk or blink is, crazy complex.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely methods to the madness. It's not just random. And when people kind of dismiss it and think that it is, then that's when they lose out on those miracles, because they think, it happens all the time. It's no big deal. Just random. And it's like, wait, you just had something amazing happen and you just dismissed it. So.
That's our training.
Yeah. I mean, everybody.
Is there anything you'd like to add? Oh, I want to know if there was anything else you'd want to add before we started to wrap up for the night.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Now this is your last night, so you're not going to be here tomorrow because you're going to be on vacation.
Right. I am.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't know quite where I'll be, so, or if I'll have a signal.
That's half the fun. Yeah,
exactly.
That's half the fun.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll see you soon, and thank you, Jennie.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Talk to you later. Thanks.
Okay.
You too.
Bye.
Have a good vacation.